Hey y'all, how are you guys doing? So, I just been thinking a lot about how much I really want to just expand and do more vlogging. Um, and I've just been so tired, just so tired. And I have so many thoughts in my mind and my head that I just want to get out and figured, you know what, I need to have a specific like segment or set of videos or vlogs dedicated to like how moms are feeling, basically postpartum and throughout a motherhood and things like that. In addition to what I also have like my day in the life with the twins content, as well as the content with infertility and that stuff. So, I mean, it's been heavy on my mind for like the last few weeks. Well, specifically, even like longer than that, but just work, just working. Being a full time employee, and I like to say a part time mom, part time wife, part time daughter, part time sister. Not intentionally, but that's how I feel. I feel like I'm at work 9 hours, literally 9 hours a day. Yeah, literally, I'm in this building for 9 hours a day, and there's so many other things that I could be doing with my time, vlogging, for example. But I mean, going back to work, I went back to work 3 months postpartum. Actually, 14 weeks postpartum. I actually attempted to go back to a different employer, like a new employer, at 8 weeks, because that's what they say you can do. They could say at 8 weeks you can do that, that you should be good to go. 8 weeks is your disability allowance. Started a new job, went to the new job. It was cool, seemed great. Next day, I don't know what happened to my alarm. I really, like, it was on. I remember turning it on that night. And I don't know if it's because I was just so sleep deprived or it was just a natural instinct to press snooze because I really don't recall. But all of a sudden, I wake up 2 hours later. And I just never showed up. I never went back. I did email them and they really encouraged me to come back, but I just felt so embarrassed at the time. And I knew that that schedule, which was a 9 to 5 with that employer, was just not going to work for me when I was going through still that newborn stage. Fast forward a few weeks later, I contacted my previous employer and they had openings. So I decided to go back. And I went back right after Thanksgiving, like that Monday afterwards. Working as a first time mom, working as a mother of twins. It's hard. It's really, 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 really hard. You never know what your nights are going to be like with the kids or with your child. You don't know what bedtime is going to be like, the struggle to get to that point, to get them to sleep. They're at the point where they're sleeping through the night, minimum about 5 hours. Sometimes as long as 8 or 9. Luckily, my husband primarily takes over the night shift because I still have to pump. So even when they have their little stirs, he'll get up and go to the room and check on them, comfort them, put them back to sleep, and they generally don't have a night feed. But usually if it's about like, if it's after 5, or even after like 6 or 7, and I've already pumped, I'll go ahead and try to feed them. Majority of the time he takes care of that. But you wake up just exhausted. My shift is 11 to 8, which is great while I was pregnant and doing infertility treatments and things like that, and I had early morning appointments. But currently now, it's like I wake up, I'll tell you about like the gist of my day. Waking up between 8:30 and 9, getting my second pump in for the day between 9:30 and 10, feeding and changing the girls, prepping the bottles if I haven't done it the night before. Just going over with my mom or mother-in-law how the night was, and just seeing what they need, for the day. Heading to work, I work 11 to 8. I pump usually around 9:30, 10 o'clock. That's my second pump for the day. And then I pump again between 1 and 3, and then I pump again around 6, which I'm not pumping right now at 6. But I decided I wanted to do video to put up a vlog. And I'm sorry, I didn't even put the disclaimer. This is going to be, I'm going to call it a sister to sister series, like from like mother to mother, sister to sister, or maybe something like that. I think like sister to sister, but really like mother to mother. Not that I've come up with that. We'll see. Pump around 6, get off at 8, get home about 8:30-ish if I haven't had to pass by like the grocery store or pick up dinner. Cooking is obsolete. I think I've cooked once or twice this year, like actual meal. I think once. Who does the cooking in my household? My mom usually brings some food or cooks at my house. My husband, and we order out a lot. And then when I get home, bottles, washing and prepping bottles. Sometimes I finish, sometimes I don't. I do another pump before midnight. We try to get the girls to bed before midnight. It's usually between 10 and 12. Do a little wipe down with them. Try to watch some sort of episode of something, even if it's not to its entirety, something to entertain yourself before bed. And start all over again. So having that shift 11 to 8, 5 days a week, really takes up a chunk of my day. Like last night, for example, I got home maybe a little bit around like almost 8:40. The girls went to bed just before 10. They fell asleep just before 10 and pretty much stayed asleep. They had their little stirs here and there, but they stayed asleep until about 7. I had woke up at 6 to pump. So they woke up between 7 and 8 this morning. And it kind of just really broke my heart. Like, oh my gosh, I only spent, like when I got home, I only spent about 20 minutes with them, and 20 to 30 minutes. And that 20, 30 minutes was basically a quick few minutes on on their play mat, and then, wiping them down, changing them into their pajamas, trying to eat something, and then I was off to washing and sterilizing and prepping bottles. And then next thing I know, I'm looking and it's 9:54. I'm looking at the clock on the microwave. It's 9:54, and I'm like, cool, my goal is to be done in the next 30 minutes. And by 10:30, I had finished my last bottle. I have a ton of bottles. And I see my husband bringing up, I don't know which twin, but I don't remember, bringing one of them up because she was being a little fussy. She fell asleep, and then next thing you know, when I'm fully done with getting everything in the kitchen prepared and wiped down and packing all the stuff to go upstairs, they're both asleep, and I'm just like, yay. I'm happy, yay. Like, okay, it was such a battle. It's not midnight, But then I was like, God, I didn't even spend any quality time with my kids, or quality time with my husband. And then it's really hard, especially trying to be an employee when you have other things that you want to do, other things that you want to pursue outside of here, or like the vlog. I would love for this to be able to take off and go somewhere with that. And, because I'm considering other, passions of mine that I've had that I had to put on hold due to, the most important thing about working is, yes, of course, the monetary aspect, but having health insurance. That's a major, major, major thing, especially in the United States. We are not the healthiest individuals, being Americans. So the quality of our food, what's in our food, is not really, truly regulated. And I'm not like a health nut or a conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but, you cannot not have health insurance. You know, I had a health scare a few years ago, and at that time, and that was the 1 year I didn't have health insurance, and I had to go to the ER, and it was, I don't want to say it was nothing, but it was something that a PCP could have handled in hindsight. But the pain that I was going through at the time was just difficult to handle. It was for me, it was unbearable at that time. I mean, so basically, to really sum it up, it's just really hard. My heart's not here. There's so many other things I'd rather be doing with my time. My time with my children is so limited, and then I have to split my attention between them, which is really hard, and it's constant. And being a twin mom, it's like you're constantly trying to be aware of, like, are you paying too much attention to this child? Are you holding this child too much? Is this child feeling left out? Is this child reaching out for you? You know, it's hard. And, you know, the small amount of time that I do have with them during the morning and afternoon, and then on the weekends, it goes by so fast, and it's exhausting. It is. And I'm grateful for all the help that I have with my mom and my mother-in-law, who are their caregivers while my husband, while Isaiah and I work. But it's hurtful to know that they get the first, you know, rolling over, the first giggles, the first crawl, or whatever the case may be. I'm not saying those specific milestones happened recently, but it hurts to be like, oh, Anna did blah, blah, blah today, or Isabella did X, Y, and Z, and I'm just like, oh, you know, I'm hearing it secondhand. And I guess it would be the same thing, like, if they were, like, in daycare, you know, and I don't know, it has its pros and its cons, and I just know, like, I can't forever be working for someone. I have to do what I need to do to, like, be able to work for myself, or not work at all, like, be a stay-at-home mom. So I have to make I remember my dad telling me this a few years ago, I have to make these temporary sacrifices for, like, long-term happiness. So, like, you know what I mean? But it's really, really hard. Hard to go and, you know, build someone else's company up. That's what you do as an employee. It's hard when the morale is low. It's hard when your superiors are micromanaging you. It's hard when other coworkers are, you know, could be incompetent. I'm not saying this in my situation specifically, but I just know of so many moms who feel so much guilt, and you see all the imperfections and all the flaws of everything that's happening around you when you're not where you want to be, which is with your children. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you click on that little notification. I hope to get to more mother to mother and sister to sister vlogs. Bye, y'all. Till next time.